What if you could see thousands of cherry blossoms all at once? At Mount Yoshino, more than 30,000 sakura trees cover the entire mountainside, creating a view known as 1,000 cherry blossoms at a glance. Today, we're here to see it for ourselves. About an hour and a half from Osaka. This sacred mountain blends breathtaking nature, deep spiritual traditions, and the quiet charm of a traditional mountain village. Unlike the flat parks you often see in cities, the cherry blossoms here bloom in layers along the mountain. Because of the elevation differences, the flowers open gradually from lower to higher sections. First comes Shimo Senbon, the lower section. Then Naka Senbon, the middle section. Followed by Kami Senbon, the upper section. And finally Oku Senbon, the inner and deepest part of the mountain. Today is April 12th. The blossoms in Shimo Senbon are already close to finishing, but Naka Senbon and Kami Senbon are in full bloom right now, while Oku Senbon is expected to reach its best viewing time in a few days. Since today is a Saturday, the station is already packed with visitors, hoping to catch the mountain at its peak. There is a ropeway that goes uphill from the station, bypassing the steep climb between the station and the town. But the line is extremely long. Instead, we waited about half an hour to get on a bus heading up to Naka Senbon. After about 20 minutes winding through the mountain road, we finally arrive. Let's begin our walk and see how the mountain is dressed today. If we walk downhill from here, we would reach the main tourist town, where most of Yoshino's inns, restaurants, temples, and shops are located. But today, that area is extremely crowded. So instead, we decide to head further uphill toward Kami Senbon, where there are fewer people and more nature. The climb turns out to be steeper than we expected. The road winds steadily uphill, and the slope doesn't seem to let up. But by now, it's too late to turn back. At least the air is cool and fresh, and the scenery around us makes every step worthwhile. Before long, we reach Naka Senbon Park. This is one of the most popular places on Mount Yoshino for Hanami, the traditional cherry blossom viewing picnic. The park stretches across several small hills, all covered in blooming sakura. And from here, the view opens across the valley, revealing even more cherry trees blanketing the mountainside. On a clear day like today, the atmosphere is peaceful, festive, and relaxing at the same time. Families sit under the trees enjoying food and drinks, friends gather for photos, and the entire park feels alive with spring. From one of the observation points, we can even see Myoryunji Temple standing quietly across the valley. As we continue further up the mountain into Kami Senbon, the town slowly begins to thin out. The crowds become smaller. The sounds of the village fade away. Up here, Mount Yoshino starts to feel much more like a mountain. Kami Senbon tends to be quieter than the lower sections, and along the road there are small parks and viewpoints where you can pause and simply take in the scenery. We finally arrive at one of the most famous viewpoints on the mountain, the Hanayagura viewpoint. From here, you can truly see why Mount Yoshino is so legendary. The mountains roll out in front of you, covered in soft shades of pink and white. Thousands upon thousands of cherry trees stretch across the slopes, creating a landscape that feels almost unreal. But Mount Yoshino is not just famous for its beauty. For more than 1,300 years, this mountain has been a sacred place for Shugendo, a spiritual practice centered around mountain worship and rigorous training in nature. Shugendo developed in the 7th century from a unique blend of ancient folk beliefs, Shinto traditions, and Buddhist teachings. The name literally means the path of training and testing. For centuries, practitioners came to these mountains to challenge themselves physically and spiritually. Over time, they planted thousands of cherry trees here as offerings and acts of devotion. Most of the sakura you see on Mount Yoshino today were planted long before the modern Somei Yoshino cherry trees became popular in cities. Instead, these are mostly Yamazakura, or mountain cherry trees. Unlike the Somei Yoshino trees commonly found in urban parks, Yamazakura bloom together with their young leaves, giving the blossoms a softer, more natural appearance. Rather than neat rows of identical trees, the mountain feels wild, organic, and timeless. And perhaps that is the true magic of Mount Yoshino. This isn't just a place to see cherry blossoms. It's a place where nature, history, and spirituality have been intertwined for more than 1,000 years. Standing here, looking across the mountains covered in sakura, it's easy to understand why people have been drawn to this place for centuries. The beauty here isn't just in the flowers, it's in the feeling of the mountain itself. And as the spring wind moves gently through the blossoms, Mount Yoshino quietly reminds us why it remains one of Japan's most unforgettable sakura landscapes. Spring on Mount Yoshino is truly something special, but our journey through Japan isn't over yet. In the next video, we'll continue exploring more beautiful places across this incredible country. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to tap the notification bell so you won't miss our next adventure. Stay curious, stay inspired, and we'll see you in the next one.